Thanks for tuning in today. Lots of people have been getting in touch with questions about surveys and valuations and how, whether they are able to take place at the moment. So I'm really pleased this morning to be joined by Jess Barrett, who is on the GoTo surveying panel that we use at MoveIQ. Jess, thank you so much. Lots of questions, lots of concern, lots of worries out there in the market. I think you guys are very much on the front line in your surveying role, assessing value and guiding the banks as well as the borrowers. But how are things? Are you still working?
Yeah, not too bad. We're still doing the odd empty property, and we're doing some desktops for lenders at the moment as well. So there's still some work going on.
Are drive-by valuations happening, or is that a thing of the past? Is that not allowed?
I think we still do the odd drive-by, but not that many, and we certainly haven't done any since the lockdown has begun.
Right. Desktop valuation. Can you just talk us through what's involved in a desktop valuation? What do you do?
Yeah, so a desktop, it can take just as long as a physical inspection, to be honest with you, because you have to go and get your research online. You have to look at the satellite views. You can see the garden, you can see the area, what's around, rivers, you name it. Whereas when you drive to a property, you'll be like, oh yeah, I know this road, I know this area. You can see the houses that are around, they're all similar ages, styles, all that sort of background research really you have to sit and do on your computer. And then you use Rightmove to get data such as how many bedrooms, bathrooms, a bit more in depth about the property. Hopefully there'll be some pictures on there from the not so recent past, so you can look and get a feel of what it's like inside. So it can take a lot of work compared to just going, looking around. If you know the area really well, it's a lot easier, obviously. And then you just write your report up as you normally would.
And are the banks satisfied with the desktop valuation?
Yeah, so the desktop is ideal really if the loan to value is really low. And if there's enough data online, obviously you can get some through sometimes where they think, oh yeah, this was on Rightmove, there's enough information here, and you can have a look and you can think, I don't think I know enough about this property in order to value it, so you just have to pass it back, and it's end of story there. But for most remortgages and that, it's quite a simple, quite effective way to value, really.
So it's just in the vast majority for remortgage purposes rather than purchasing?
Yeah, so it's mostly for remortgages. So with a purchase, obviously if someone's lived there for 20, 30 years, then there's going to be absolutely no data online, and there's just no way you can do a desktop if you don't have enough information from online.
What happens if it was bought, say, 5 years ago?
So if it was bought 5 years ago, they haven't done anything to it, or perhaps they've updated the kitchen. Some lenders, not all, but some are happy just to send in dated pictures, so we can see, the floor area is exactly the same. Nothing's changed in respect to garden, park and all that, but they might have updated the kitchen and you've got a nice picture of the kitchen now. And again, obviously the loan to value's got to be quite low still. But they're generally quite happy with that. So
it's keeping you guys in work, but actually for the people involved in the marketplace now, whether they're buying or selling, then actually valuations can't take place.
Yeah, exactly that.
But for remortgaging, because there are some fantastic deals around for people who have got a large slice of equity, then they can mortgage and you can help them.
Yep, they're still going on. We're still doing quite a lot, and we're quite a small company, to be honest with you. There's a lot of people I know who've got a lot of work going on still, so it's positive.
I've heard talk of sort of surveys by video, and I wanted to gauge your thought. Have you heard of it? Have you seen it? And the way I understand it is that you, the surveyor, tell me, the house owner, where you want the camera to go and what you want to look at. Is that realistic? Is it doable?
Yeah, so I have heard of this, but long story short, it's not really ideal. A lot of surveyors would agree, if you're doing a survey, you might see a defect and you'll be talking about it and you think, I'll get a nice picture for that so the client can see exactly what I'm talking about. And you can take 10 pictures, look at them all, and you can't see a crack or whatever defect you're talking about for love nor money. So walking around with the video, it's going to be the same scenario. You're just going to miss a lot of things that are there that the camera just can't pick up.
So whilst there is talk of it, in the cold light of day, it's not actually realistic.
I don't see it ever working.
One of the things that is certainly on my mind is the challenges that you guys will face post lockdown and whatever the world looks like at that point, and you're going out and trying to value in a market that hasn't found its feet, and your comparable evidence will be almost historic. How will you do that? Because I do see that as particularly difficult.
Yes, I think it's going to be difficult for everyone. Valuation is going to come with some uncertainty. That's just how it is. Nobody knowing what's going to happen straight away when we come out of lockdown. I mean, the market's been pretty flat for a while, so we have been using comparables that are sort of 6 months old for the most part anyway, because the market's been fairly flat. It's worked. So we're all hopeful that coming out of this, we can hit the ground running. We'll have to use historic comps. We're going to have to keep tabs on what's going on with the market. But we're all hopeful that it will work, and we'll get through it.
We will absolutely get through it. We'll have to get through it. And it's right to expect that there will be quite a lot of pent-up demand, because we've came off Brexit discussions of last few years, and then the election, and then it really did feel that there was some kind of jet boosters put under the market, and there was a lot of activity, and now we hit the virus, and of course all that stopped. So there will be pent up demand from both buyers and sellers, but whether they're willing to pay the prices that they were talking about paying a few months ago is one to watch very closely.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very difficult. I mean, we and everyone was really, really busy before this all happened, so it's a bit of a shame, really. Things were looking really positive. There's still a lot of cases that have just been put on hold. There's not an awful lot that's actually been cancelled. There's a lot that has been put on hold.
Yeah.
So hopefully when things get back to normal, we can crack on with that, and hopefully that will carry us through, and then people will build up trust, really, and feel like they can move, and that things are as they are. And we're hopeful that prices won't crash. Obviously there's a lot of information online, but there's nothing to back it up, really. We just don't know how things are going to go. You just got to see what happens, haven't we, really?
Well, you are going to be, and it's a kind of overused term at the moment, but you are going to be on the front line of the housing market, because you will be assessing value and what's fair and right at that time. Jess, can I ask on that topic, when you are out doing a survey for a transaction, something's being bought and sold, where is the degree of responsibility between the lender and the borrower? So you are there on behalf of both of them, really, aren't you? Because the bank wants to be secure that the money that they're lending is covered, and the borrower wants to know that they're paying the right price for the property. So where is the line?
Really, wholeheartedly, we're there on behalf of the lender. We're just valuing it for them, so they know that the money that they're passing out to their client, to the borrower, it is what it's really worth. The lender just really relies on us to make sure that we value it right. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on us coming out of this to make sure we get it right. But we're all working together. All the lenders are talking, all of our panels, the RICS, we're all staying in touch and keeping together. So as a team, I think we can work together and see the light, and hopefully we'll be able to keep up on our promise and valuing how we see fit for our area coming out of here.
When, because I know that a lot of the banks, and in fact you've mentioned it yourself with desktop valuations, but a lot of the banks have taken off the shelf their mortgage products unless someone's got 30-40% equity. Is that's the way you're seeing it as well? That's
exactly it. So in fact, straight away, a lot of lenders pulled everything out altogether, which everyone on my side of the fence thought was an absolutely terrible idea. Some of them are reintroducing now, up, as you say, up to sort of 50-60% loan to values now, which I think is good, because we still need to keep things moving where we can, especially with desktops. If it's only 20-30% loan to value, and there's information online, a desktop is more than adequate for most lenders.
Jess, would you have any advice for someone watching this who wants to buy a house flat later this year? If they're lucky enough to have 30-40% deposit, and therefore the bank's going to lend to them, when they instruct the survey, how do they get good guidance and advice from you? Because as you just said, your real responsibility is to the lender. Now, I think the lender's completely covered. If someone's got 30-40% deposit, then actually the lender's fine. But what about the borrower? How do they get the best out of you?
Yeah, so we always would recommend someone to have a survey. I mean, if the property's brand new, it's a slightly different scenario. But if it's not, we would always recommend someone have a survey as well, because as I said, we're really there when we're doing a valuation just for the lender. They don't want to know all the nitty gritty. If there's a few little things wrong that just adds up to a few thousand, they don't care if the doors are falling off, but you might care for all these little things, and it could add up to, I don't know, 10,000, and that might be a lot of money to you. I mean, if you've got that much of a deposit, maybe not so much, but so we always would recommend to get a survey as well. If
you had a crystal ball, and I guess everyone's asking these questions, fast forward 6-12 months, how do you see the housing market? I'm really hopeful. I think it's going to be, for sort of 3 to 6 months, I think it's going to be everyone sort of muscling through, but I'm hopeful that in 12 months' time we'll be back on track. Prices will be back very steadily rising, and I think if you're buying a house and you're intending on staying there for 3, 4, 5, 10 years, then I think you've got absolutely nothing to worry about. If you were buying a property and only intending on living there for a year, you might want to think twice about what money you've got. But if you're planning on staying there, I don't see there being much risk in that at all. Well, we do have a housing shortage, don't we? And these banks are in business to lend money, so the mortgage rates of money's actually very cheap at the moment. So you combine the two, there will be demand, and at the end of the day, it's about supply and demand. But it's I think the housing market is also very sentiment driven, isn't it? Yeah, definitely. Hopefully people will have the confidence after. I mean, the sooner the better, obviously, for everyone. But hopefully people will pick up confidence that the things that's just on pause at the moment. There's no crash. It's not the same. The banks have still got the money. They're ready to lend when things can't go ahead. So I think you're absolutely right. I don't foresee a crash. It's just stopped at the moment because nothing can take place. Jess, it's been really helpful and interesting for the viewers to hear your thoughts. And the sooner you're back out doing proper valuations and surveys, the better, rather than those desktop ones. But I'm glad you're keeping busy. All the best. Bye. Thank you.